Thank you. Sometimes I wonder if I'm not a bit too optimistic about life. It's true. Every so often I get cornered by one of those furrowed-browed intellectual types. It often happens at luncheons or parties. I've learned to spot them 3 rooms away. They make a beeline for me. No small talk for them. Right away, it's, Dr. Peale, do you really think that life is as simple as you paint it to be? Come now. Well, what do you say to somebody like that? I mean, here's a man who makes his living, maybe he's a professor or an executive of some type. He makes his living because of complexity. Sometimes I think he deliberately complicates matters to hold down his job. After all, the more simple he makes matters seem, the less reason there is to have him around. So he has a vested interest in complexity. Fortunately, I don't have a vested interest in complexity. I'm interested in people running their lives with a minimum of complexity, as effortlessly, as efficiently, as gracefully as possible. But it's a fair question. Do I really think that life is as simple as I paint it to be? After this message, I'd like to try and straighten this matter out. Is life simple, or is it complicated? My answer would have to be that it's both. It's complicated so long as you have no way of seeing similarities and contrasts clearly. It's complicated when life around you picks you up by the seat of your pants and gives you the old heave-ho. It's complicated when you find yourself being torn this way and that by every passing fad, every influence, every stronger personality. It's complicated when you've lost control over yourself. It can be a nightmare when you give in to fear. How do we simplify what at first glance seems complicated? That's the question. If we only began to realize our capabilities, we would astound ourselves. Thomas Edison was fond of saying this, and it was because he kept this idea in his consciousness that he astounded himself and the world with one seemingly miraculous invention after another. Thomas Edison was not much different, basically, from you or me. He had the same number of chromosomes as we have, the same number of brain cells. What lifted him to the heights was what he actually did with his mind. He used his mind to control his emotions, to control his concentration, to direct his thoughts along constructive lines. Now, I know this sounds simple, but I really believe life can be simple. One of these days, I'm going to think of a really fuzzy, complicated way of explaining it to these people who can't abide simple explanations.